Welcome back to How to Cake It. I'm Yolanda, and this week I am caking an igloo because naturally that's where I live. I'm Canadian. We try to pretend we don't live in igloos when people ask us, but the truth is we do. And in the summer, our igloos turn into outdoor pools. To make my igloo cake, I started by baking 8 pounds of my ultimate chocolate cake. I baked some of that batter in a 9-inch half sphere pan and the rest in a 9-inch round pan. If you want all the details of how I baked this cake, just click right here. For igloo, I layered them, the 9-inch round into 2 layers and the sphere cake into 5 layers for a total of 7 layers. Of course, I needed Sir Squeeze to wake up and get out of his igloo to help me simple syrup these cakes. It's so cold that Sir Squeeze came in with his fur and refused to take it off. I had to make him take it off. And then he demanded I put it back on. I'm surprised the simple syrup wasn't frozen. And you know what? Who do you think you are wearing a fur stole with a brooch and leaving your girlfriend Fennell in the cold? Look, she's freezing. She can't even uncollapse herself. I've decided to make a secret chamber in this cake. This is a freezing cold secret chamber. And of course, I need to fill it with ice. So for that, I'm going to use some light blue rock candy. While the simple syrup soaks into all of my cakes, I need to remove this rock candy from the wooden sticks that it comes on. The next thing I'm going to do is use a 3-inch circle cutter to cut the secret chambers out of some of my cake layers.
It is the first secret chamber of 2018. No?
What? Now we're here. Now this is looking like How to Cake It. Now I'm back in it, right? Secret chambers. I'm saving the cake circles to make the door of my igloo later on. Let's fill this cake and let's fill it with Italian meringue buttercream because it's delicious. Begin by placing your first whole layer of cake down, spread on that Italian meringue buttercream, and now we're gonna start to build up this cake with the layers with the secret chambers. Oh, this is Walter's igloo. Yeah, he lives in a really fancy igloo, so I wanted to replicate his igloo because he's like that. As I place these layers on, I also make sure to keep the inside of that secret chamber clean. I don't want chocolate cake crumbs in my ice. So I'm using a small straight spatula to just sort of ice the inside of the chamber as I go along. I'm sure you know people who don't believe that Canadians live in igloos. Just share this video with them because it's definite proof. I've now built up my cake with the chamber and I decide I want to make the chamber a bit bigger. So I go back and cut another secret chamber in another one of my layers, place it on top, and then I'm gonna actually chill the cake at this point. It's an igloo. I have to keep this cake extra cold. And the reason I want to do this is so the buttercream inside the chamber can become chilled so that when I put in my rock candy, it doesn't get coated in buttercream. As a further step to ensure that no cake crumbs get onto my ice, the next layer of cake that I'm planning to stack on top, I'm just gonna flip it over and spread buttercream on the bottom. Just a thin crumb coat and chill. Once the buttercream inside my secret chamber has chilled, I'm going to remove my cake from the fridge and pile the rock candy ice inside the chamber. Now that the chamber is filled, I'm going to spread buttercream on top of this top layer and then flip that crumb-coated layer on the top to seal the secret chamber. That's why Walter's igloo is so nice and cold. Not that I've been invited, but I've heard. Was it cool in there, Orhan? Orhan, I saw the picture of Walter's igloo. You guys all went to his house cooling party and then you put the picture up on your Facebook. I saw it. To complete this igloo cake, I add the final sort of domed layer on top and crumb coat the entire dome.
Yolanda, Cody asked me yesterday, what's the difference between crumb coating and icing?
Cody. Did you not study the manual you were given, which is my cake book? Did you not look at page 56? Crumb coating ensures that the crumbs from your cake don't get into your beautiful icing. If any of you at home want to up your crumb coat and chill game, you can pick up our deluxe crumb coat and chill bundle at howtocakeit.com. It is on sale now, and you can also grab yourself a copy of my cake book and make sure to read page 56. As Cody just learned. Before I chill this cake, I need to create the doorway into this igloo. So for this, as I mentioned before, I'm using the 4 cake circles that I cut out to make the secret chamber. In order to ensure that my doorway will fit right up against my dome cake, I need to cut away some cake. So what I do is I use a 9-inch round pan, which is the same size as the base of my dome, and I just lay it at the edge of each cake circle and cut away a little bit of cake. And I need to just sort of create like an archway. So the first thing I want to do is cut the 2 sides nice and straight with a small serrated knife, and then cut the front nice and straight like a doorway. And finally, I'm just going to sort of round out the 2 top edges. I'm trying to make like an upside down U, which doesn't spell igloo. Once I'm happy with the shape of my igloo doorway, I then fill the layers. They've already been simple syruped. I fill them with Italian meringue buttercream and crumb coat the whole doorway, and then I chill the dome and the doorway. Crumb coat and chill. Guys, I don't know if you noticed, but Orhan is here doing this interview with me.
Hey!
Jocelyn's not here because she decided it's too cold outside, so she's hibernating in her igloo. Now that my crumb coat is chilled, I can move on to icing this cake. So I find it really helps to ice a sphere cake or a dome cake with a small offset spatula, because the cake is so rounded, it just really lets you get around. You're not using a long straight edge on something that's not straight in the first place. Once you're happy with your icing job, you can place both cakes in the fridge to chill. It's fondant time. It's time to cover my igloo cake with white fondant. Now I am going to be decorating this igloo with mini marshmallows to resemble ice bricks. I'm rolling my fondant to 1/8 of an inch thin as possible, because it's just there to hold in the buttercream, and it's going to make a nice surface for my piping gel. This is a really easy beginner cake, so if you end up making this at home, please don't forget to put up a picture and tag me on Instagram. I'll put my handle down here. And feel free to make an igloo cake even if you're not Canadian. Moving on, I need to cover my little doorway with white fondant. So same thing, rolling out the white fondant as thin as I can, and then draping it over. Make sure to keep the seam of your fondant at the back of the door where it will meet your dome cake, because no one will know it's there except us. It's another secret. If you've never seen an igloo, when you look into the entrance, it has quite like a blue hue. So what I want to do is create a little bit of light blue fondant, same sort of tone as the ice inside the chamber, and roll it out nice and thin. Then I'm going to pick up my little door cake and place it face first onto that fondant and cut around it. So I'm cutting the exact same arc shape out of my blue fondant. Once I've done this, I just brush a little clear piping gel on the back of that blue fondant and place it onto the front of the doorway. Okay, it's marshmallow time. Don't you wish you heard that more in life? Yeah, it's like a sweet happy hour. Before I start applying my mini marshmallows to this igloo cake, I'm just going to mark out where my door will be placed on the dome. Time to line up my mini marshmallows like ice bricks on an igloo. So I am laying them horizontally all along the bottom of the igloo. And then I want to make sure to lay them in a brick pattern. So when I start my next level, I offset the marshmallow so that the first marshmallow starts where the seam is below it. You know what I mean?
They see what you mean.
Oh, footage. Yes. You can cut to fit the marshmallows as needed, because as you get up the dome, the circumference changes. So you might find that it's not quite aligning in a brick pattern, and here and there you need to cut a marshmallow in half and place it. And just feel free to eat the other half, because that's what I did. I find it really helps the process, you know? It's like I was one with the marshmallow bricks. I was a marshmallow brick. So keep adding your marshmallow bricks round and round and all the way up to the top. I make all kinds of novelty cakes on this channel, not just igloos. So if you want to see hats and books and turkeys, please subscribe. As I went along, you know, marshmallows aren't perfect. I've come to accept that. But here and there were some that when I looked at the igloo overall, I didn't like them. So I just like poked them out, ate it, and then replaced it with a more suitable marshmallow. It's time to add my doorway. Now it might not fit perfectly, so what I did is I removed just a row of marshmallows along the side, and then I piped some royal icing onto the opening and pushed my doorway up against the igloo. And then I can repeat the same brick pattern, laying the bricks in the same horizontal fashion. So I started at one side of the doorway, up and over. And here you're gonna have to cut and eat quite a few marshmallows. For the opening arc to the doorway, I am going to place my marshmallows upright, gluing them on with some piped royal icing, and just cut them as you need and design the opening archway as you like. You know how Walter's igloo has like those ice pillars around it? I mean, it was built by a world famous igloo architect, so I have to really replicate it properly. I'm gonna go all out and even decorate around this igloo. It's actually sort of set beside a forest, so there's just tons and tons of trees around his house. And to recreate some of these trees, I'm using some sugar cones and a piping bag with royal icing, piping it right onto the sugar cones through a star tip. And to finish them off and make them look nice and snowy, I'm just going to sprinkle some coconut, shredded coconut all around. And there you have it, a beautiful snowy tree. You can make a few trees, you can make a ton of trees, and just place them around your igloo cake. Have a lot of fun decorating outside your igloo cake. You don't need to make as much land as Walter lives on. So I sifted some caster sugar and icing sugar around the igloo. I added my sugar trees, pearl luster dust, salt to melt the ice. Walter's kids were playing outside. The other thing you should know about Walter is he has a flag of himself on the outside of his igloo. That's the kind of melon he is. Seedy, just seedy. It's time to destroy Walter's house. I'm gonna enjoy cutting this cake. Click here to watch my handbag cake compilation and here to watch a step-by-step of my t-shirt cakes over on my new channel, How to Cake It Step by Step. And make sure to subscribe while you're there. I'll be back next week. Walter won't.